that, I thought I'd just jump on. I was getting some messages coming through. Um, we are obviously in Aries season, and it's very exciting. It's the first time in a bit of time that we've had some fire energy, some significant fire energy. And so, yes, this is very exciting. So, but there are some messages here definitely when it comes to this Aries Mars archetype, first house energy, fire energy. In the sense of, maybe a bit of a warning as well. Just keep in mind, Spirit was sort of making clear here. And hold on a sec, guys, because maybe, hold on. Okay. I have to find a place to put this guy. So what I was hearing, okay, guys, give me a sec. I'm going to put you in the bag, okay? You're going to go in the bag just for a sec. So, you can still hear me, hopefully, but yeah, okay. So I'm seeing here from Spirit that during this time, self-talk practices are going to be really, really important, really important. Why? Because during this time of the Aries season, right, we have a very strong projection of ego. And so, and I was hearing before I was getting on, jibble jarble, like there's going to be a lot of people, I'm hearing it like this, talking about things that actually, interestingly, they may not know much about, but they will be talking. I'm hearing it in this way. For some, though, there's going to be a lot of this energy of like people saying things they've never said before as well. I'm seeing that. Where you're just like, oh my God, did you really just say that? Kind of vibe. Like, is this for real? Kind of vibe. Like, sort of like an unbelievable energy almost. This is sort of like what I'm picking up on. And it may be that also you feel stimulated, okay, prompted to maybe even, sort of reflect on things that you hadn't thought of in the past, which is natural, which is normal with this really strong Mars energy, the stimulating first house energy. All about new beginnings, right? With this new year, right? This beginning of the zodiac. So, but yeah, you may find that. One second, guys. I have to sort of cross. One second, guys. Okay, so you may find though that it's almost like how do we say, like, let's say someone starts talking about something, right? It's like, okay, well, do I actually want to talk about that? Sometimes, with a really strong Aries energy, there can be this like feeling of like, well, wow, it is so busy. What is going on? My God. Where it's like, it's like it can be very convincing that someone does. Guys, that guy was carrying like 10 scooters. Okay. It's like a tarantula. Guys, okay, this is chaotic. In the meantime, look at the cherry blossoms. Okay, and back to astrology. Yeah, I'm getting like, look, it's just like this. It's like, okay, now someone here wants to come through real hot and like have a convo with you about something. Maybe they realize that they really want to talk about whatever the subject matter is, or maybe they realize that they have something to talk about, period, with you. And the question is, are you really in alignment? Are you really in resonance? Are you really wanting to have that conversation? I'm hearing that as well, Aries, and it's funny because that's my sister who's going right there, sun sign. So, it's funny. It's very, very interesting because, and I am very familiar with the Aries archetype. Actually, I have a few. I know a few people. I specifically what women, feminine Aries energy. I'm familiar with. Um, it can be very like, here I am. I'm here right now. Let's do this. It's like, okay, whoa, cowboy. Like, cowboy, calm down. Like, I don't know if I'm ready. But sometimes it's like, but that's where it's like very exciting, Aries can be very empowering, exciting, uplifting, energizing, stimulating. Like, it's definitely, it can be that really sort of like yeehaw energy. Like, yeah, let's do it. But then, the question is like, but does it actually serve you as well? Right? Does it, also make sense? Because, with Mercury and Pisces right now, the mercurial energies are not necessarily exalted. We've talked about this a bit. So sorry, excuse me. Thank you so much. So, the thinking cap is there. Oh my God, the cherry blossoms are truly colored cherry. Those right there were very pink. Wow, interesting. So, yeah, the thinking cap is there, but I mean, it's, yeah, Mercury and Pisces. I personally wouldn't meet anyone new during a Mercury in Pisces. Personally, I would wait until Mercury steps into Aries. But Mercury in Pisces is a great time to sort of feel people out, kind of just pick up on the astral debris and see where people are truly at. What are they really feeling? What are they really going through? In terms of like the astral realm, the astral speech. Mercury in Pisces is a great time to just sort of feel things out and let things just sort of exhaust and really sense, what has been said, but I don't really think it's a great time to necessarily be meeting new people, taking really big risks on when it comes to judging one's character for the first time. But you always take it as you will, I mean, this is astrology. This is, I think astrology should never be the sort of thing where it defines what you do, right? It is a sort of syllabus, but you take the test at the end, you take the class, this is your life, this is your experience. And so, you synthesize the data, you take it in and you interpret, but, the guides do want to just bring this to attention. Like, if you are sort of naturally already feeling, right, like that, I just don't think this water is hot enough for me. I'm hearing that, great time, Mercury and Pisces, to listen to intuition in terms of making a decision, taking on action when it comes to judgment. I'm hearing that, and discernment. I would wait until Mercury goes into Aries, but you always take it as you will. I mean, maybe it's a favorable time in certain scenarios. This is a general video, of course. I may open back up the astrology series. I don't know, guys. We'll see. I really tried to just limit it to the personal readings that is open on the website Alchemy and You, which is just a very limited service. I think I'm going to start phasing out the private services, and focusing more on the general ways in which we can also talk about astrology and do obviously readings and stuff. But I did offer a private service where we could look one-on-one at your chart, and I would love to do this in theory, but imagine like having to do that for every single person. Now, I also want to mention, guys, that we're going to be going live again tonight, and Thank you. Thanks. So, yeah, we're going to be going live again tonight. We'll continue with the rest of the signs for the love partnership single twin flame reading. And, I feel like, there are a lot of people who have questions when it comes to matters of love and the role love plays in terms of readings. And, some people, they're like, oh, I just don't want to focus on love. I just don't want to focus on love. And, I think the question is, what is love, right? In a way, yeah, I mean, and not just that, but if we think about our role here, right, on Earth at this time, we'll say, one of the top ways we face shadow work is through other people, right? So-called other people. It's in the reflection points. So to be afraid of love and to say, oh, I'm not involved in, I'm not receptive, I'm not vulnerable, I am not looking for love, I mean, that's, yeah, okay. Independence is different than closing off heart chakra, right? So I want to bring this to attention because, I mean, obviously I just like kind of feel it's natural. There are a lot of people who are like, why are we talking about twin flames? And like, honestly, I also want to mention this: people who have problem with the theme of the twin flame. Okay, naturally, it's understandable you may be misinformed. Okay, and twin flame is definitely not a term to excuse the semantics of narcissism that takes place, that can be prevalent, holds presence in the way we conduct society today. This is not what twin flame is. It is unfortunately presented as such, though. It can be interpreted as such, but it inherently is not. It is about energy. So it's not a romantic concept. It's not something, it's not. And actually, it really is it should not be romantic, because if it is, then it's probably a soulmate connection. This is what I'm hearing here, okay, from spirit. I mean, really, any relationship, right? I mean, there are romantic moments, but inherently the relationship is not, right? It's about shadow work and it's about soul work. And so the twin flame is another term for triggering, okay, your soul mission. That does not mean that it is the be all end all conversation of all of your love matters and these such things, okay? And so there is a truth to that, okay, where you got to be quite careful with that concept. And people can really, I mean, yeah, trolls can come in. Ask any tarot reader, okay? Trolls come in, they're, claiming that you guys are twin flames. I mean, it's very easy, okay? It's very easy to use it as an excuse, but honestly, it's no different from really, I mean, it can be the metaphor to anything else. Like, for example, I mean, if someone is going to pay for a service and you're not feeling comfortable carrying out that service, but they're saying, hey, I'm paying you, it's kind of like that. I mean, you could use that with anything, right? People can use it with the term friendship. Oh, we're friends, so like, you got to do this and I got to do that and blah blah, and this is what's going on. No, everyone has the right to interpret what that experience is for them. So there's no unanimous, bilateral sort of, we'll say unilateral, okay, conversation statement when it comes to what a twin flame is. It's just another form. It's a dialect for you to be able to synthesize the experience you're having, which is a very hardcore, triggering experience. Okay, so it's about triggering truth. It's not about twin flame. It's not an idealized conversation. It's a mechanism for your spiritual expansion, evolution, and growth. And I hope that we're still recording. Hey guys, you guys like the cherry blossoms? Check it out. These are kind of pink in hue. But there was a very, very pink one back there. But anyways, a little while back. So yeah, it is really, really kind of like that. And so if one is coming onto tarot and they're watching readings, or they're even a reader, and whatever it is, and they're saying, no judgment to anyone, right? We all at times have this misconception energy moment where it's like, it's like, this is a twin flame and this is what's going on, and like, it's about his eyes and the way he bats his lashes. It's like, it is not. And I mean, if we're not going to talk about energy in tandem with that, if we're not going to talk about shadow work in tandem with that, we're just going to sit there and be like, I'm waiting for him to come back. I'm sitting on this log and I'm literally just like waiting for him to realize that, I like the way he's batting them lashes. Then that is really, really, really where the shadow is at, interestingly. And we can flip it. We can flip the script and say, that is the soul lesson. And that's why this person so-called is not showing up, because that's your trigger work. That's the very trigger work that they're triggering with you. So there is some truth, when people say twin flame, blah, blah, is nonsense. But that's like saying we don't have trigger work to do. That's like saying we don't have these intense soul contracts. That's like saying we don't have a teacher at school. Who do you think you are? Okay, so yeah, we really have to square that away, because I feel a lot of people have an issue with the concept of twin flame. And I mean, this is really, yeah, I mean, you got to get it clear on, what that even means to be able to defy it. And yeah, and that is not, it's not about love relationships, not about romance. It's understandable. There is a truth to that, but, not wanting to, but again, with the heart chakra open, there is a point of interpretation from an energy standpoint that we are here to ascend. And so there are certain teachers who will be very, 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 very pivotal, very, 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 very integral in your learning experience. And so how can we say that, oh, we know there's a cap on that? We know, that's for people who got a lot of ego with the experiences of others. How can somebody come and say, that yes, this person is your twin flame, or no, they are not? I mean, who has the right to say that, right? And furthermore, if you feel like, because people get very into the ego, and that's the exact thing that the twin flame experience comes in to shake up and to test and to honestly ultimately purge, is the toxicity of the ego complex. So in other words, when you're on the twin flame journey, if you were to tell people about this experience, they would probably get like the shippers. Okay, they would probably get and not everyone here is going to have a twin flame experience at this time in this way, to the level and degree where they're going to observe it as that. Okay, as well, who you share your experience with. Okay, who you share your experience with, because a lot of people are going to get uncomfortable because they're living vicariously through you, but they don't understand you and they don't understand what you're going through. Okay, and actually neither do you, right? Technically, hence why you're open to the experience of understanding the shadow work. That does not mean, though, that you're sitting around waiting, okay, for someone, okay, to come around, right? And that is, but that doesn't mean that there isn't the shadow work to be done. So it's about the approach, right? And it's about bravery. And so I'll give you an example, right? Usually to you, it will be a very, very telling experience, a very shaking experience where you're like, okay, something is happening. Yeah, something is happening to me and who I thought I was. Something, by the way, if you guys can hear me, can you type 777? Something is happening to me, and like, and I just feel it and I know it, that I'm not normal. I'm here that is like, yes, the twin flame comes in as a checkpoint to say hello. It's not checking you with your ego into hotel 3D, okay, reality time, so-called Earth. It's checking you into your next step and stage of your mission, which is why it's not about romance. Because romance is a human 3D term. The way we interpret emotion, the language of emotion, which is not there, but it's just another way of expressing it. But when we do, let's say, meet that twin flame, then it's the concept more so of transcending into the next phase and stage and journey of how we synthesize that emotion that is so strong and usually so strongly felt with a twin flame experience. So it can be, but emotion, again, is not necessarily romantic. Emotion is intensity, okay, of attraction, magnetism. If you really think about that, that's a creative force, right? You're not here to just sit here next to, okay, the love of your life on a log, watch him bat his lashes again, again and again and again. Oh, and just let the butterflies pass by. Unless, I mean, if you believe you're here for that, it's all your perspective, right? Then okay. But it is really about what you come here to create. So is it true that you have magnetism? Yeah. Or is it true that you have attraction? Of course, right? And that hence, I mean, really with any soulmate, there's that point of initial magnetism and attraction, because there is something that you're realizing you're coming together to create in some way. So you encountering that so-called teacher will understand that this is a lesson. Others, though, okay, the other people in your periphery may not, and that's understandable. But the important thing is to realize who you share your experiences with, because they have their perspective. And the question, furthermore, is why would you need validation from someone outside of that experience that is so personal to you, that you're coming into a space of understanding more deeply, okay, that this is actually real for you, that it's actually happening? Where is the trust in your evolutionary journey spiritually? And that is a personal thing. So, and this is really a thing, guys, like when you share with others, and it's no different really from any other creative project or idea that you may have. Sure, you may share an idea with someone, they may really get it, they may really click and be like, wow, Bianca, I love your idea, but then, you come across usually more often than not people who have a problem, have something to say, have something to criticize about the idea you have, that you see something miraculous with, magical with, amazing with, right? So it's really no different, guys, because it's a creative journey. And it comes through to that point of you saying, I have the vision. And I have the vision, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being the one who has the vision. And having the strength and the bravery and the confidence to carry that vision through, to create with it what it is that I know I create from that point of vision. So it's really about, meeting your twin flame is really about having the bravery with your vision, okay, and the bravery with your, even we'll say, your psychic abilities. The point where we get really insecure and we're like, oh my God, I need to validate this experience. And like, where you need to validate the experience and you're thinking like, is he a player? And like all of this. This is the 3D. This is 3D, the blockage to the third eye chakra, where you are awakening and you're realizing, uh-oh, this is different. And the issue, okay, when it comes to the third eye, most often with those on 3D realms, is okay, the sense of discomfort with what is different, with what is perceived as different, but that is where change begins. So the point, guys, is definitely, as with any spiritual awakening experience, it's about going within. Sometimes we do feel very much stimulated and very excited, and oh my God, don't you see it? Don't you see it? Don't you see the rainbow? Well, the truth is that not everyone will see the rainbow, because you were chosen to see the rainbow at that moment in time and to do something about it, right? Not to sit there and just kind of be like, well, when will the person who I saw on the other side of the rainbow confirm that they saw me too? That's not the point, right? It's about transcending the need for that, hence the power of the third eye that awakens when you do have these very intense spiritual experiences that trigger magnetism and to levels you've never experienced before, where you're like, why the fuck am I so attracted to this person? It's not romantic attraction. Again, guys, it's about the magnetism to create something. And that is what is awakened. But you have to understand really what that means in this 3D realm, right? You have to be able to synthesize that and say, well, in the past, attraction has been XYZ. Okay, but in the world that I create, attraction will mean this or that. And that is something that's about the hermit's journey. That's about you going within. That's about you understanding it. You're not going to understand it by talking to a therapist. You're not going to, well, not necessarily, but this is a video, you should always take it as well. You're not going to necessarily understand it by talking to your friends, wanting them to interpret your experience. That may come down the line more so, but in the initial stages, the awakening, okay, was prompted for you to be one with you in that moment, and to really have, again, the bravery to say, okay, and this is a general video, caveat, but I'm not crazy. Okay, I'm awakening. So this is the point that really I think needs to be made, and Spirit really wants to emphasize this, because there is some misunderstanding here, truly, about what that all of this really means. And pushing away shadow work is what I see is the biggest threat to this experience of awakening. Okay, because we are assuming that it is something romantic, and we're saying, no, I close my heart. I don't want to have something romantic. It's not romance. It's shadow work. So, and yeah, and so how many people, guys, will come through in the beginning of your spiritual awakening and be like, oh, you're just, yeah, no, you're not sleeping. They're not going to understand, guys. They're not going to understand. They'll be like, oh, why don't you just move on from so-and-so? You're having ascension symptoms. They may be like, oh, this is a general video. You got to talk to your person practitioner, right? You got to say that. Okay, but still, and when I'm talking to light workers and star seeds, Okay, yes. So now, and this is a Pleiadian transmission message, by the way. Okay, Galactic Federation. So in case you're curious. Now, or it's your first time, or however, yeah. I work with the Pleiadian Council in addition to other starseed galaxies. So, and this is again, this is a transmission. It's, you know, it's yeah, a channeled space. So, in addition, it's like, well, she's riding the bike. She's riding the bike, and she's channeling. So I don't know. Spirit wants it like this, so we're gonna do it like this. We actually started. We were doing the live bike rides a little while back during the summertime. Now, it could be a metaphor, take it as you will, right? Didn't Einstein say something about life is like riding a bike? So let's get back to it. Okay. Now, what I'm getting further is, yeah, you guys know how many people will literally look at you and be like, you're just going bananas, John. It's like, no, I swear I saw the rainbow. And I swear she was like pointing at me on the other side of it. Yeah, okay. That is the thread for you to follow through with. And that's about, in a way, at times detaching, hence the sometimes lonely journey of the light worker, so called. But what is lonely? It's all subjective. What does it mean to have friends around you? You can have a lot of friends if you're very lonely. Okay, so got to get that concept squared away as well. But yes, hence why the hermit's journey is usually quite lonely at certain points in time, because that's for you to sort of go into that space of saying, I don't need society to make me who I become. I don't create who I really am by way of filtering my visions through society's, okay, graces. I hear it like this. And so it's sometimes about detaching from that mold and concept of society, whatever that has been for you, wherever it was that originated as a concept of meaning that held value for you. And so, yes, because it's really about macro and micro. As you ascend, you zoom out from that concept of society, and then you understand more so interestingly, simultaneously, what it is that you do, what you are here to create. And that's where the illusion really is at, where it's like, oh, I have like no purpose, and it's all about being a sham. I was at a sham, a sheep, a lamb, you know, and moving with the masses. No. That's where you totally scaffold your magic, and where you refuse to do that light work and that shadow work ultimately. And that is yeah, scary to do at times, shadow work, but it's where your power is truly at. Hence why, you know, in so many historical experiences through time, we've seen that, you know, it's much easier to control people who don't believe that they've got magic. So, right? But it is still about validating that there are things that may be scary, maybe freaky, maybe, right? Maybe like, oh, okay, never done this before. It's a different experience. It's like, yeah, it sure is. But doesn't mean that it's wrong. Different doesn't mean bad. Different just may at times mean uncomfortable, right? Uncomfortable. When we're realizing our soul mission, we're getting to that point in life, right? Where we're saying, okay, I've been wearing these clothes for a while. I've been really warm and toasty, but time to take them off because I got to get into my pajamas and get a little more comfortable with who I really am, right? So guys, thank you for tuning in. We're going to see you in a bit. Take it as you will. And yet again, you know, I mean, if someone doesn't believe in your journey, if somebody doesn't believe in who you are, as who you define yourself as, and who you discover yourself to be, and who you experience yourself as, right? That's okay. That's part of the journey. That's part of your shadow work as well, again, right? And so it's really, again, about bravery. If you have fear of doing your shadow work because of what you feel people will think about you or say about you, just think, you know, follow that fear down and say, okay, what does that fear actually lead me to? Why would I fear someone not accepting or validating me? Okay, follow it down, trace it down, because it does not originate with who you really are. Because you do not come here within the space and guise of society, and you do not come here with a requirement to, you know, help people understand who you are within society. Okay, the only obligation, as you'll see it through your life, is to be authentic. And you feel that, and you'll know whether or not you're authentic, okay, through life, based on how authentic you are and how happy you feel And when you're not feeling happy, it's not because you don't have something. It's not because you don't have someone's approval. It's not because blah, blah, blah. In fact, look at these so-called famous people who have a lot of approval, so-called, from a lot of people. A lot of, right? A lot of people, a lot of different people around the world. And they can just be so unhappy. It's not about the accumulation of validation. It's not about likes on your Instagram. It's not about any of this. It's about your authenticity and your communication of your bravery to be authentic, to say, I am not afraid to be authentic. What do you have to fear? Right? So, and trust that you will come across so many people who will interpret your authenticity in so many ways that will, you know, make you feel like it's wrong or bad or not true. But that only proves further the demographic of what communicative abilities, okay, you seek to purge. I'm hearing from the masses, okay, where people are like, oh yeah, I can just say what people want to hear. I can just be a very successful human and just, be very, very, correct. I hear that, whatever that means, but not be authentic. And that is exactly the telling point for you of who it is that you're talking to when you are doing your shadow work and when you are coming to this point to bring illumination, enlightenment to others. So you have to flip the script and really get brave here and say, it's okay that you don't agree. It's okay that you don't see yourself yet. I see it. I see us. I see where as a society we have to grow, we have to learn, we have to transcend. Okay. And this is where you say, furthermore, okay, that you do what you do, not just for you, and no one should ever make you feel guilty. This is where you really have to purge this whole the nonsense of, wow, you're changing and you're going off on your path and you're becoming someone different and you're no longer who we knew you to be. It's like all of that nonsense, right? Because that is further the shadow of society that needs to be purged, that identifies that people need to be together and do the exact same thing and be exactly the same person and be in this clumpy mold of someone nobody is, okay? And that is the exact shadow, right? That is the exact shadow. So it's about the bravery to be independent. And honestly, being a light worker, you're like a soldier here. And you have to say, like, literally, like, I know you don't see it. You see it, okay, before others do sometimes. And that will always depend on where you're at on your journey. And we cannot blame them, right? Their back is turned for something that you have a different vantage point of. So it's not about getting triggered. It's not about getting, hurt, that someone is not empowering you, okay? And if you choose to remain silent in a situation where somebody would like to debate, okay, your personal prerogative, where it comes to the point where you actually want to remain silent, even with yourself, because you don't have an answer to why you're doing the things you're doing. You don't have to explain yourself as you see it, even to yourself, right? To yourself, you don't. You have nothing to explain to yourself. We're not here because of the logical mind. We're here to transcend the need for the logical mind to supersede that of intuition, okay? Hence the ego, right? You have nothing that you owe another person when it comes to that space. Obviously, alert, this is a general video, and this is, we got to say this, a video for entertainment purposes only. I feel like I need to wear a hat or a jacket that literally, okay, and so, in fact, I may start, right? But you gotta, make sure you're balanced mind, body, soul, because, if you got an entity attachment, you're acting, this is different. But we're talking about light workers and starseeds. So, it's about the bravery to explore who you will show others that they are as well in this space and who they can become. And many people will not be open to that. And that's also part of it. It's like, okay, listen, we don't have to be friends. I'm hearing that. We can step away. We can fully step away from one another. Like, it's cool. Okay, and then you're like, oh, but they won't let you go. Okay, because they, on some level, their heart, their soul is yearning to reconnect with truth. But their mind doesn't allow them to fully release themselves into that experience with you, right? And so that's not your problem. That's where you stimulate their shadow work. That's where you stimulate their conversation, okay, of hermeticism. okay, with themselves, where then they go into this full moment, and you have to stimulate that sometimes for that person, and maybe at times an uncomfortable way where you're like, how we have to end this conversation now because it's not real. Okay, neither one of us are being real here, so I got to step back. I got to go, kind of vibe, you know. And that will stir them and prompt them, right? Hence, again, it's not, yeah. So there's this whole moment, guys. There's this whole moment, um, and yes, and people may be very, very triggered, and that's okay, right? Triggering is not bad. Okay. Um, yes, and I'm getting here from spirit that, especially as, say, the indigo children, as those who are born during a certain space and time, where a very particular window where many light workers here incarnated, and they have come with a very, very naturally triggering, okay, vibratory cause, which is very triggering, okay, extremely to certain thought groups and thought forms. And it's almost like you come through like a probiotic to a very imbalanced, okay, gut microbiome, societally speaking. And you will find that certain people are just like, oh my God, they like fucking like detest you. And it's like, why would you be so triggered? You know, it's like, I'm only doing light work. It's like, you know, ching, smile, enter smile. It's like, no, but they're very triggered. And it's like, oh yeah, you wonder, right? So you have to come in like knowing that, and knowing that that is going to at times ensue. And that in time at times is going to be the way that you carry out the work actually interesting enough. The one thing that you must remember though is that it's not about bending to the will of the ego of others. And that's really, really the point, because that's their shadow work. And you've done yours enough to realize that they have more work to do. And you're here to help them with that. You're coming from a space of love and light. We're talking generally because, again, this is a general video, but I'm referring to light workers and starseeds. You come here from a place of light. Your intention is not to, you know, demasculate, devalue, I'm hearing even defeminize like the toxic feminine energy. It is to illuminate, but they will see you as a you know, how do we say, like a predatory energy. But yeah, so, and if they choose to interpret it in that way, again, that's furthermore not your thing. It's like you are the earth doctor. So you're giving the news, you're being honest, and that's the most important thing. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope that you enjoyed this series. Thank you to the guides who have chimed in here, tuned in, and helped with the transmission of this pretty important message when it comes to the topic of twin flames, ascension, light work, and characterizing your personal role here and being one with, again, your intuition, no matter what stage that takes you on your path. If at times it means stepping away from a group of people because you start to realize that it's not going to be the way that you can be most authentic with yourself, right? And saying that being so-called alone is not a negative thing. Society may characterize it as a negative thing at times, but it's not necessarily a negative thing. Okay, and so again, your shadow work may be triggering where others are not willing to do their shadow work. And so it's a whole process. And yet again, guys, that's okay. So it's about kind of just, yeah, letting the interpretations of your cause flow. And I also want to mention that personally, there have been so many times where I was like, you know, I had an experience that was kind of like uncomfortable. And I had an experience that was uncomfortable, but I knew for myself that there was something that I needed to learn from that experience, you know, by way of started taking the moment of truth with myself to at least just even admit that there was something in that experience that I hadn't resolved, not with that person, but with myself. And so taking the time to sit in the moment of understanding why you feel the way you do, why certain things stimulate you in the way that they do, why certain people trigger you in the way that they do, and why certain people stimulate you in the way they do is really important. And it's not a weakness, guys. It's to reflect on where you stand with your higher self in doing that shadow work. So we'll see you guys in the next videos. Bye, guys. Enjoy the rest of your moments here. As we have also, I think, a Mercury sextile the nodes, very karmic energies. The moments of realization, and again, bravery. Keep clearing your aura. Keep clearing your aura. It's cleared on the back. Yeah, and this is also about your projects of life. Everybody may be at different stages, but there's so much here that you're coming into, is what I'm hearing. And yeah, it's about really getting clear and honest with why you're here. Because we're definitely not here for the 3D. We're not here to perpetuate that. So great if certain people understand that and they want to empower you to do what you need to do when it comes to why you're here. And great also if they don't. Either way, it makes no difference. It's all perspective. And nothing's inherently negative or positive or neutral. If somebody is on the same line of path with you or not, it's just the karma and it's just the transcendence of it, right? So it's about you being honest though with yourself at every moment in time, at the checkpoint of saying, this is where I'm at right now, and this is what I want to do. And I am okay with that. I'm actually more than okay with that, right? I'm excited about my journey. So it is a tipping point and it is a balance point, but it's about also understanding that the value that society brings you, I'm hearing, is terminal, but you are timeless. And that is a space of where your spirit moves through you, and nobody can tell you how it is that you've become, how it is that you are true to yourself and in alignment with your vision. That's for you to determine here in the way that you want to determine it and at the time that you want to determine it, right? So, I mean, we can even see this sort of egotism live through the spiritual community. I mean, if we really want to get quite honest here, right? I mean, we can really see even people putting you on the so-called spot, which is just not right, right? It's really not just not right for someone to put a pressure on you. Well, that could be a biblical message for somebody here. It's like, you know, you will forever be the one who understands, you know, outside of how we sort of characterize our evolution, okay, personally, what you feel, okay? So let's clear it. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of activations, guys. Keep clearing and grounding. I'm seeing 7-7. This is all about, it's funny, it's a truck that says worldwide services. This is all about how you create what you create. And sometimes what you perceive or another perceives even, right? Again, perception, hence the ego in this dimension, perceives as a weakness of why are you like taking this much time, or why is this like moving forward like this, or, you know, why are you like considering that this is like, let's clear it. Interestingly, that is exactly what you feel for whatever reason you will create with. And it may be something ironic. So yeah, guys, if I hadn't followed my personal truth, I would not have found what I find in myself today, right? And this is not for anybody else. This is for you with you. Okay, and so it is about saying the value of this human experience is what I place on it through finding myself. So let's clear it down the back. Yeah, but you will find people who will be judgmental, and that's okay. And so, yeah, guys, there are always going to be stages and steps as well to this experience. Wow, you guys really have a lot to say here. There will be stages and steps to this experience, and it will not be all in one shot, and that's also the point. Okay, see, humans, they are comfortable on this spectrum of linear, okay, where it's like that leads to that, and then that happens. Oh, is your spiritual awakening over? Can you come in, like, meet us here at XYZ time? It's like, no, I don't know. So it's about the flow and being sort of okay enough, okay, with where your ego dissolves and releases, because the power of the true self is so great, and that is the light with which you shine, okay, your story upon your I'm hearing your story itself, interesting, okay, and how you connect to others, guys.